Se você é apaixonado por cães e gatos, adora aprender mais sobre a saúde e o comportamento deles, mas sem aquele papo complicado, você está no lugar certo.
Bem-vindo ao podcast Dogcast, o podcast que une informação veterinária séria com um toque leve e divertido.
Eu sou a doutora Carol, do canal Vet My Pet, e aqui a gente descomplica o universo dos pets.
Vamos falar sobre saúde, comportamento, alimentação, curiosidades e tudo o que você precisa saber para cuidar ainda melhor do seu melhor amigo. Então já sabe, coloca o fone, dá aquela aconchegada no seu pet e vem com a gente no podcast Dogcast.
Have you ever looked at your dog when they're all worked up and just thought, what is going on in that furry little head?
Oh, absolutely. Like when they're panting or pacing around all restless, you know something's up.
Yeah.
It just makes you want to help them chill out, right?
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. And you know, it's actually something we get asked about a lot. Figuring out how to actually calm an anxious dog.
So many pet parents struggle with that.
So for this deep dive, we're going to really dig into that. We've been looking at all sorts of research and expert advice to find the best ways to help your pup find a little more zen. And, you know, we're all about natural solutions whenever possible.
Always a good approach.
So, ready to dive in?
Absolutely.
One of the things that really surprised me when we were prepping for this is just how much a dog's diet can impact their mood. It's not just about their physical health, but their mental and emotional state, too.
It's true. And, you know, it all ties back to this thing called the gut-brain axis. It's basically this superhighway of communication between their tummy and their brain.
Okay, wait. The gut-brain axis. That sounds kind of complicated.
It is a bit sciencey, I know. But think of it this way. Just like us, their digestive system and their brain are constantly chatting. And what they eat can seriously affect that conversation. So if their diet is packed with good stuff, you know, like high-quality proteins, healthy fats like those omega-3s you find in fish oil.
Ah, omega-3s, that's for brain power, right?
Exactly. It helps their brains work better, but it also impacts their mood and behavior. And don't forget all those essential vitamins and minerals, too. All of those nutrients are basically building blocks for neurotransmitters.
Okay, now you're using big words again. Neuro what?
Neurotransmitters. They're these tiny chemical messengers in the brain that help regulate everything from sleep to stress. And a balanced diet gives their body what it needs to produce those messengers effectively.
So it's like giving their brain the tools it needs to stay balanced.
Yeah. Think of it like a well-tuned engine. It runs smoother and has fewer breakdowns when you give it the right fuel.
I like that analogy. So it's not just about what we avoid feeding them, but also what we make sure they're getting enough of.
Exactly. We want to ditch those processed foods loaded with artificial stuff and focus on nutrient-rich, whole foods whenever possible. And some of the research even suggests that natural feeding approaches can be super beneficial.
Speaking of beneficial, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about training. Because you always say it's more than just teaching them tricks, right?
Absolutely. Training is actually fundamental when it comes to helping your dog find their emotional balance.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. Consistent training, especially when it's based on positive reinforcement, creates structure and predictability for your pup. And that's a huge stress reliever for them.
So it's like setting clear boundaries and expectations.
Yes, because when they know what's expected of them and they get rewarded for doing it right, it reduces their uncertainty. And uncertainty is a big anxiety trigger for dogs. They thrive on routine and knowing what's coming next.
Makes sense. It's like having a routine for yourself can be really calming.
Exactly. Plus, when you use positive reinforcement, like rewards and praise, you're not just teaching commands, you're also strengthening that bond you have with your dog.
Building trust.
Exactly. A dog who feels secure in their relationship with you and confident in their understanding of the rules is much less likely to be anxious. It's all about consistency and patience. And remember, training should always be a positive experience for both of you.
That's so important. Now, another thing we kept seeing pop up in the research was this idea of environmental enrichment. Sounds kind of fancy, but what does it really mean for us dog owners?
Well, it's all about creating a living space for your pup that keeps them mentally and physically stimulated. It's like creating a playground for their senses.
Okay, starting to get it now.
Think interactive toys, puzzle feeders that make them work for their food, you know, things that challenge them a little bit. And that's also super important to give them opportunities to explore.
Like going on walks in different places?
Yeah. Switching up your walking routes, letting them sniff all the new smells, even taking them to new safe environments could be super enriching for them.
So it's about keeping their brains engaged as much as their bodies.
Absolutely. Because a bored dog is often an anxious or frustrated dog.
And nobody wants that.
Nope. But remember, it goes beyond just preventing bad behavior. Environmental enrichment is all about giving your dog the outlets they need for their natural energy and curiosity. It helps them feel more fulfilled and content.
I'm definitely getting some ideas from my own pup already. Now let's talk about something a little more mysterious. Pheromones. I know they're a thing, but I don't really understand how they work.
Don't worry, a lot of people feel that way. Pheromones are basically these chemical signals that animals release to communicate with each other.
Like a secret language?
Sort of. And what's amazing is that specific canine pheromones can actually have a direct impact on a dog's stress and anxiety levels.
Really?
Yep. Think of them as these natural mood messengers that create a feeling of calm and security for your dog.
So even though we can't smell them, they're having a real impact on our dogs.
Exactly. Dogs have a special organ in their nose that picks up these pheromones and sends signals straight to their brain, influencing their behavior and emotions. And these pheromones can be super helpful in all sorts of stressful situations, like when they're traveling, adjusting to a new home, or even dealing with loud noises like fireworks.
Now, one product we kept seeing mentioned in the research was Adaptil. What's the deal with that?
Adaptil is actually pretty cool. It's a synthetic version of the dog appeasing pheromone, or DAP for short. This is a natural pheromone that mother dogs release to calm and comfort their puppies.
So it's like bottled puppy love.
Kinda. And what's fascinating is that this same pheromone can have a calming effect on dogs of all ages. By mimicking that natural signal, Adaptil can help dogs feel safer and more relaxed in all kinds of situations.
Like a little reminder of mom's love.
Exactly. And a lot of research suggests that creating that sense of security is super important for healthy puppy development. And it continues to be beneficial for adult dogs who are dealing with stress.
So how does Adaptil actually work? Like, how do you use it?
Well, it comes in different forms, depending on your needs. There's a diffuser you can plug in that releases the pheromone into the air, which can be great for general anxiety or when your dog is adjusting to a new home.
Like an air freshener, but for anxiety.
You got it. And there's also a spray version that you can use directly on things like their carrier or even your car before a trip. It's like giving them a little extra comfort on the go.
That's really neat, so it's worth checking out.
Absolutely. Lots of research backs up Adaptil as an effective way to help dogs feel calmer and happier.
Before we wrap up our main discussion, we wanted to try out a little something fun. We're calling it Mito o Verdade, Myth or Truth. We're going to tackle some common beliefs about calming dogs and see if they hold up. Ready for the first one?
I'm all ears.
Okay, here it is. If a dog is tired after a lot of exercise, they'll always be calm. Myth or truth?
Ooh, good one. And you know, that's actually a myth.
Really? I would have thought all that exercise would tire them out.
Well, while exercise is super important for their overall well-being and can definitely help burn off excess energy, it doesn't automatically equal a calm mind.
Interesting.
A dog can be physically exhausted, but still be mentally agitated if their other needs aren't being met. Remember our chat about environmental enrichment?
Right.
So even if they're tired, if they're stuck in a boring or stressful environment, they might still act out. It's all about finding that balance between physical and mental stimulation.
Makes sense. So what would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners today?
Well, I think the key is to remember that helping your dog find peace and calmness isn't about a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about looking at the whole picture. Their diet provides the foundation for a healthy nervous system. Training builds confidence and security. Environmental enrichment keeps their minds engaged. And tools like Adaptil can provide that extra comfort when they need it. It's all about understanding your dog's individual needs and finding what works best for them.
I love that. And to help you get started, we encourage you to try implementing some of these tips with your own pups. And don't forget to send in your questions for future deep dives.
We love hearing from you.
Oh, and before I forget, we came across some amazing resources we wanted to share. Dr. Carol offers online veterinary consultations, which is super convenient, and she has these really highly recommended training programs for pet parents who want to learn even more about understanding and supporting their furry friends.
And for those of you searching for top-notch pet supplies, we found this fantastic online store that has a huge selection. Plus, as a special thank you for listening to the deep dive, they're giving you an exclusive discount.
And if you're someone who's super passionate about pets and maybe even thinking about making a career out of working with animals, there are some incredible online courses out there that cover things like making natural pet food, whipping up healthy treats, mastering those dog training techniques, and even learning the art of pet grooming.
It's all about equipping you with the knowledge and resources you need to be the best pet parent you can be.
So to wrap up our deep dive today, remember that a calm and happy dog is often a reflection of a holistic approach to their care. It's about nourishing their bodies, training their minds, enriching their environment, and understanding that sometimes a little extra comfort from pheromones can go a long way.
Huge thanks to everyone for joining us for this deep dive into calming anxious dogs. We appreciate you spending your time with us.
And as we sign off, we wanted to leave you with a little something to think about. Considering everything we talked about today, from diet to training to environmental enrichment and even pheromones, what's one small, actionable step you can take in the next 24 hours to create a more enriching and calming experience for your furry friend? Think about their unique personality and what resonated most with you.
We'll see you on our next deep dive. Until then, take good care of yourselves and your amazing pets.
Agora que você já sabe mais sobre como cuidar do seu pet, que tal dar o próximo passo? No link da descrição você pode marcar uma consulta online comigo para avaliar o caso do seu pet e iniciar o tratamento com a Cannabis Medicinal de forma segura e eficaz. Aproveite também para conhecer os treinamentos que recomendo sobre alimentação natural, adestramento, petiscos saudáveis e muito mais. Tudo pensado para garantir a melhor qualidade de vida para o seu peludo e até mesmo para quem deseja trabalhar no mercado pet. Ah, e não se esqueça, siga o podcast Dogcast na sua plataforma favorita. Avalie o podcast e compartilhe com outros tutores apaixonados por cães e gatos. Muito obrigada por nos acompanhar até aqui. Um grande abraço para você e seu pet e a gente se encontra no próximo episódio. Até lá!